Hello and welcome. On today's video, we're going to be using a mixture of product to create this fun card here. Okay, to create our card today, we're going to be working with a big mix of products. And what I have here is a Steamboat Willie Duo die set, and we're going to work with these elements here. And then I also have the Classic Mouse Wedding, and we're going to be working with the clothing from this set here. And then I've got the Classic Mouse Wedding accessory, and I'm going to be working with the bow on this. And then we're going to bring in the couture dress form, and we're going to be working with the dress form and not this dress for this particular one. And then we're also going to use, I already have these sentiments glimmered, and this is the heirloom words that went along with the couture release by Frank Garcia. And we're going to use those because those are already prepared. So those are the elements that we're going to be using. It is an eclectic mix of dies, and we're going to have fun. So I have die cut everything out, and we're just going to get to assembling all of our little bits and pieces. Basically what we're doing is we are taking classic girl mouse wedding clothes shopping, and that's what we're doing. So I'm just going to get to assembling. I'm going to start with our girl mouse and get her assembled, and we'll just get going on this. So we're gonna, I believe we're gonna do a 5x7 card. I think we're gonna need that landscape for as many elements as I've got going on here. And so let's just go ahead and get our girl mouse started assembled. So I'm just gonna bring in my glue, and we'll just put some glue down on here and get, if I can get my glue working, we'll just get her laid down on here. I actually had a call come in, and so I had to stop. So we're just going to get this laid down on here on our mouse's face. And we'll get it lined up on there. And then we'll add our girl mouse's eyelash. And I'm using cream colored cardstock for the face. I'm trying to soften it a little bit and make this a little softer look. And then we're going to use some Bellini for the tongue. And so I'll get this laid down on there. And then we have got the body, and we'll go ahead and bring in the skirt. Actually, before I do that, I like to lay the bloomers down. And so these bloomers are teeny tiny pieces. And I'm going to need my wax tool for this. Hopefully I can find it right here. Okay. And I've got the one little piece stuck on my finger there. These are, this is really tiny, the bloomers are. And so we'll get it laid down on there. Now I'm going to show you the detail for it. If you can see it, there's the bloomers. You've got this teeny tiny piece here, and then this one here. And so we'll go ahead and get these laid down on there. And I just need a little bit of glue because this is a real small area. So I'll kind of clean that up a little bit. And I'll pick this bloomer up, and I'll lay it down with the detail that is on there so that I can get it positioned just right. And then it will allow our skirt to look correct with it. And so I'm just going to get it positioned on there just like that. And those are her little bloomers, and then the skirt will get laid down like that. And there we go. And then I need a set of arms. I didn't grab any arms. Let's go ahead and get her tail laid on there. I'm gonna have to die cut some arms out, and then we'll come back in. But we'll get her tail laid down on there. I just need to get a set of arms. And so for the arms, I want this set of arms here because I want her reaching out for her dress. just bring in some black cardstock. I thought I had everything die cut out, but I did not. So we'll just die cut this out, and then we'll have her arms, and we will get her assembled. Okay, so we've got the arms. I'll get my tweezers. And we're basically going to do it kind of like that is how we're going to do it. That way she can reach out for, as she's shopping for her dress, she can reach out for that. So I'm going to position just like that. And then we can position her head on there. Isn't she cute? Now she just needs some pumps. So we'll grab her shoes really quick and we'll get her shoes laid down on there. And then she is just about ready to go shopping for her wedding dress. And we'll get the other pump laid down on there. Now she's going to a fancy dress shop, so she is going to be dressed up. So we're going to bring in a hat, and she's going to have a hat because she's getting all dolled up to pick out her wedding dress. So we'll get this laid down on here. Get that assembled, and she's also going to use, we're going to use the flower because she's going all out for this trip. It's a special day. And then we'll just position this on there just like that. We just want to position it right along. Just right like that. Doesn't she look nice? She's all ready to go shopping. So let's get the rest of the elements put together. Okay, so I am back. I have had a heck of a day. I had to go get the little one from school and take him home and care for him. And they've had a lot going on at the house. And so I did some cleaning at my daughter's house, got it all organized. There was a huge wasp nest. I got rid of it, got everything out of there, several wasps taken care of. And then later in the day, I went back out and there was another one out there and it stung me. I got rid of about 50 of them with nobody stinging me. And then the last one actually got me. So I don't have my watch on. I've got a big old sting mark there. So what I'm doing here is where I'm bringing in the couture die set, and we're going to use it, and we are going to use the dress form. So we've got the couture dress form and we're using it. Now what I did, because you know, the girl mouse is smaller than what the original one is, and I'll show you for size comparison. We're going to modify this one, but what I did was I just cut it down and then shortened it and put that on there, and I also narrowed it. So I just kind of cut away this so that I could use this for the dress for the girl mouse. So we're going to lay this one aside because we will have to modify this for the matching suit that she's going to pick out for her groom. Anyway, so I've got the dress and we're going to get to assembling it, and we're going to do the wedding dress, and this is part of the wedding collection. And so we've got the base of the dress, and then it layers up on here, and I'm bringing in multiple layers because I'm trying to make this dress more full than what the one actually is in the set. So we're going to bring in some extra layers. And I left my glue when I went to get the sick child. I left my glue undone, and so it's clogged up now. So I'm going to try and get it going. I don't need that up the top. We just need it on the bottom. So we'll get some glue on there. Kind of clean that off a little bit. And then there's some great detail on here, so you can just line this right up on the detail, and that tells you exactly where the dress goes. And so you've got this layer, and then you would generally just have this layer, but I'm going to add some multiple layers so that our dress is really full. And so what I'm going to do is just add a little bit more glue to this and we're going to add another layer, and this is just going to be a really full wedding dress. This reminds me of the wedding dress that I had when I got married. I had a wedding dress that had lots and lots of layers just like this, and I did choose a cream colored wedding dress as well. So it does kind of remind me of that. So I'm just going to continue assembling, and we're going to add this one on there and just making our dress longer and longer. And so there we go. And then we have our dress form. And what we're going to do is we're going to position it on here. We're going to actually add the sleeves to the dress from the die that, you know, it had the additional sleeves that you could add on there. I went ahead and die cut those out. Those would have went over this dress that came with the die, but I am going to use them for the wedding dress for the Classic Mouse wedding, and we'll use it. I'm going to go ahead and get this laid down on the dress form. And now you see it's more narrow. That's why I did cut that down so that it would fit. And we're just going to position it on here, and then we're going to add our sleeves to it. And it's going to be, it'll work out just fine. And so we've got that. And my thought was for the back of the dress that we would just add, I need to push this up a little bit. Can I move that? I need to get it a little bit higher on there. There we go. Give it a pinch. And then we'll put the back of the dress on behind here to make it look like it is actually hanging on the dress form. So we've got that laid down on there. Now for the sleeves, I did choose to use some brushed gold cardstock for the sleeves because that's what is going to be her detail on her dress. And so I did all 4 pieces that are included in the couture dress form die. And we're going to layer them up like this. And so they're just going to layer like this, and it's going to be like a ruffly sleeve. It's going to be like multiple layers. And then we'll get the other piece and we'll layer it up just like that as well. And we'll have a nice little sleeve on there, and it will help kind of just kind of fill in that area there. And normally it would go underneath the sleeves for the other dress, but I'm going to put it right on here, and she's going to have this little sleeve that's going to go on here and just kind of cover it up, and I think it'll be fine. This is just me wanting to kind of play with a bunch of different die sets and see how I can pair them and make them look, you know, a little different, and kind of mix and match and see what I can come up with. So that was the plan here, and that's what I'm doing. So I'm just going to get that little sleeve laid down on there. And then we'll get some glue and get the other one laid down on there. I feel like I laid them backwards. Did I lay them backwards? No, I did not. Okay. Just sometimes you have to double check yourself. So we'll get them layered up how we want them. And then we'll put some glue on here and get it laid down. Now, when I was a kid, I got stung by a bee and I was allergic to them. So I'm trying to just kind of keep my, let me see. Do I want to do it like that? I think I've got it upside down. So I'm going to switch these out. Anyway, I'm trying to keep my eye on this sting just to make sure it doesn't get too swelled up. Yes, there we go. That looks much better. I thought something didn't look right when I laid it down there. So we'll get this laid down, but just trying to keep my eye on it just in case it swells up, because I did have to go to the ER. But anyway, doesn't that look pretty? And I think it works. You know, I just had to do a little altering on this form for this, and it works. And so to further bring in the gold accents, I did go ahead and die cut out her belt and the brushed gold. And we're going to get it laid down around her waist. We'll get it added. And then she also has a bow, and this bow has multiple layers. Yeah, it's going to go on here like this. And then we're going to add the little knot to it right there in the center. And for that, I need my wax tool. And I'm just going to get it picked up. It's upside down. I need to get it flipped over. There we go. Clean up a little bit of that glue. We got more than we need. and then position this. Get down there. Oh, I've got my little knot on there. Where did it go? There it is. Stuck to my finger. Put a little glue on the knot and get it laid back down on there. There we go. Now we've got a pretty little wedding dress. And then what I think, this is moving around on me because I had glued it. But when we add this bottom layer down here, this will help kind of stabilize it. I'll put some glue on this and that'll help stabilize. And basically what we're going to do is make this look like the back of the dress is on the back side of the dress form. And so we'll lay it on there like that. And then we've got this really full wedding dress that I think is super pretty. And there we go. So, and she's going to be shopping for her dress. She's going to be looking at it and thinking that it really looks nice. So, and while she's picking out her dress, she's also going to be picking out his suit. So we're going to assemble his suit and we're going to modify this as we need to. It's going to be too tall. I think the width might be okay because he's a little bit wider than her dress is, but I think it's going to be cute. So anyway, let's go ahead and get the suit assembled and we'll go with it. Now it's going to be a little bit tricky because we don't have a body to assemble it on, and I could have die cut out a body and laid it on there, but I think we can do it just fine on here. So we've got the vest, and then on the vest, let's go ahead and put let's get our shirt sleeves on here, and then we can build up the rest of it. So that's what I think we're gonna do. All right, so I'm just gonna put a little bit of glue on there, and we'll use the shirt sleeves to kind of start as our base for our outfit. Now we've got the gold suit. Have I got that the right direction? I feel like I've got it upside down. Let me look at my set. Nope. Okay, the V is at the bottom, so I think I was okay. So we'll get it laid down on there like that. And then we'll bring in this other sleeve and we're just going to position it. And then we have our little pants. So we're going to put our little pants down on there. And there's that. So you can see our outfit is starting to come together. Now we also have our lapels, and we have got a larger one for one size. It goes on over here, and then a smaller one for the other. I got to get it in the right direction. So we have this little piece here that's going to lay down on that, and this is like the actual lapel, like the decorative part of it, where it would flip back and have like an accent color on it. And so we're going to use our gold for that. And then this one, we're going to add its little piece to it, get it turned around, and then we'll get it laid down on there. And then we can kind of tuck, obviously this is an outfit, so we're not going to have any hands, but we can kind of tuck this underneath that shirt sleeve, and that way it'll be positioned how it needs to be. Might be a little tricky. I'm going to grab a hold of it and then just slide it underneath there and just position that. And we've got a nice little suit jacket or a tuxedo. And then we'll get our next one and get it laid down on here. And then we'll position it. And we've got our groom's outfit. And so see, it will lay down on there nicely, I think. What we are going to have to do is we're actually going to have to cut it off. And I thought that we would. We're going to add his bow tie in a minute, but I thought we'd have to cut it off. So I think what we're going to do is just take our scissors and just kind of modify it here, right here. And then we will get it positioned on there, and then we can bring the rest of the base down. I'm trying to see if I want to trim it any. I think I will. I'll just trim it a little bit on each side and just make it a little bit narrower, kind of like I did hers. And then we'll lay it down on there and we'll have that. Now I did choose to use the, is it Bellini or, I don't know, this color, the pink on there, but I'm just kind of keeping it the same. I know it's not very masculine, but for him, but anyway, so there's our little suit. And so we're gonna need our little stand and we're gonna wanna position it. So I think I'm just going to, let me see how it'll work if we do it like this. Yeah, we're gonna cut it completely off. And we'll do that, and then we'll just flip it over. Let's see how we're gonna need to position it. Yeah, we'll just position it all the way across the top. We'll just go across that little dotted line there where the etch detail is. And then we'll add our little stand here. And then, actually, I feel like it needs to be a little bit longer. And then we have our little outfit. And then we have the top hat that I thought we could assemble. Don't know if we really necessarily need it. We can assemble it. And then let's not forget to bring in his bow tie, because he's gonna have a tie with his tuxedo. And so we'll just grab it and we'll bring it in and put it on there. I'm gonna position it like this so I can put glue on either side of it so it can lay on the lapel. Get enough on there. There we go. And we'll just lay that on there. And we have got a matching outfit for our wedding, and she's just thrilled with the clothing options. So I think what I'll do is I'll go ahead and just attach his top hat to the outfit like that. And then she's got her little shopping experience. So I've got a bow from the wedding set. Let's get this out of the way. Let that kind of dry a little bit. Let's clean off the glue. I've got a gluey mess here. And then we will, let's go ahead and assemble this bow. This bow is pretty ornate, and I'm thinking I want to use it for the top of our card base. So we will see. We'll go ahead and assemble it and see if we can use it or not. But I used the same color and that I used for everything else. And so that I tell you the right color, we're gonna look at it here real quick. I'm using the blush as what I'm using, the blush color. So we have all of our pieces. And then our little knot to our bow. So basically, I think I want to get it in the right direction. I think you put this up there and it gives some detail. Yeah. So we'll just, let's put this in there first, like that, and then it'll raise our next level. We'll add this and we'll have even more dimensions since we layered that down first. We've got that. And then we have got these pieces that kind of layer behind there. I think they kind of go like this, and you just layer them up like that. We'll lay this one right on top of it, just like that. And then we'll put a little bit of glue on here. Looks like the swelling's going down in this, so I did put some Benadryl spray on it. Actually, I think they do it like this is how they do it. Yeah, just like that. And we'll lay that down on there. I immediately sprayed it with some Benadryl spray to kind of take the sting out of it and hopefully bring the swelling down a little bit. So now I lost my little knot. Here's my little knot. We'll bring it in. We will pick this up. And then we'll get it laid down on there. And we've got a really pretty bow. Isn't that pretty? So I think we've got some great elements for a card. I'm planning to use a 5x7 card because I feel like we need some space for all of this. And then I've got some sentiments that were previously foiled with the press plate that goes with the couture set. It was called Heirloom Words. And so let's just go ahead and bring in our card base. And I'm going to make it a landscape because I want to have room. I'm just bringing in back in that brushed gold cardstock, and we've got the alabaster card base that I've made, and we're just going to layer it up, and this is going to be our card. We're going to keep it clean and simple and just a fun mix of products, just trying to come up with a different way to utilize these two products together. I think it's fun. So we'll get this laid down on there, try to get a nice little frame around there. That. There we go. Very, very simple. And then we're going to do this. This is kind of like a boutique. We're going to a boutique to shop for our wedding attire. And I don't know. I rarely use 5x7 lines on here, so I'm going to get it lined up. And then we'll shoot for the center with this, like that. I think that's pretty good. Clean up some glue seepage. I think it'll dry clear. There we go. And then we can get our little scene laid down on here. I think it's kind of fun, a little quirky, just something different. So let's go ahead and get her laid down on here, and then we'll position, I'm going to try and position her hand on that dress to make it look like she is checking it out. So let's get her laid down on here where we want her. I think I want her right there. Give her a little press. I didn't get any glue on her little flower. Let's go ahead and add some there. Give it a little press. And then let's tuck this dress in to where she's got her hand on it like that. And then we'll have his little suit. So let's do that. Let me know what you think of this quirky little project, and if you have done anything similar with your sets to create, you know, kind of a different look with them. And she's really liking that dress. I'm gonna move it up a little bit so I can get my stand to lay down on there. And then we've got his coordinating outfit. So she has done all of her shopping, and she knows exactly what she and her groom are gonna wear to the wedding. And this is a little bit of an unusual scene. And so I thought this set actually has a heart full of memories, which you could, you know, add to it somehow. And it also has, and I'm not sure, document every story. And I kind of like that one because, you know, you take pictures of all of your wedding events and everything. And I thought maybe this would be kind of cute. So I think I'm going to lay that down on there. We're going to have document every story. I think for this, since I'm going to cross all these layers, I'll just bring in a piece of foam, and I'm going to split it because this is really thin and I don't want it to show behind there. So we'll just split this down and use this for our sentiment. And I might need a little bit more of it because I cut it a little short. Just a smidge. And we'll just use a smidge of it. Oh, that's too much. And we'll just get this laid down on there. And I think it's cute. I think it's a cute little, just a cute little play with the different products and figuring out a way how to make them work. So we're going to document every story. And I think it's a cute little card. have some little gems that we could add to it that I think could be fun. Let's go ahead and do that. A lot of times I don't, do the gems. And so I have this color and it seems to go nicely with it. So I think we'll just take and use these and we'll just kind of position it like that. And I think it's a cute card. So let me know in the comment box below what you think about the card. If you like it, if you've created anything similar to it, I'd be interested in hearing. But she's got her wedding attire all picked out. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. I've got some pictures here for you to check out. And if you like, I've got a playlist here in which you can watch some other videos that I've made. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye now.